Good day, learners. Welcome to another awesome episode of Sci Amazing, because learning science is fun. Today, our topic is all about reproduction. Reproduction is the process by which new organisms are produced from a parent organism. It is a significant life process for the survival and continuation of species. During reproduction, parent organisms pass their characteristics or traits to their offspring. Offsprings are the young born of living organisms. There are different types of reproduction. First is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction refers to the process resulting in the production of genetically identical offspring from one parent without the fusion of gametes. In animals, we have the binary fission, budding, spore formation, regeneration, and fragmentation. In plants, we have the natural vegetative propagation and artificial vegetative propagation. Next type is sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction refers to the process involving the fusion of two gametes. It produces genetically dissimilar offspring. Let's have examples of asexual reproduction. First is binary fission. In binary fission, this is the process through which asexual reproduction happens in bacteria. During binary fission, a single organism becomes two independent organisms. Binary fission also describes the duplication of organelles in eukaryotes. Next is budding. This is a form of asexual reproduction in which a new individual develops from some generative anatomical point of the parent organism. Organisms such as Hydra use regenerated cells for reproduction in the process of budding. In Hydra, a bud develops as an outgrowth due to repeated cell division at one specific site. These buds develop into tiny individuals and when fully mature, detach from the parent body and become new independent individuals. Next is spore formation. Spore formation or sporogenesis is the process of production of spores or reproduction by spores. Spores are asexual reproductive bodies. A spore is covered by a hard protective coat to withstand unfavorable conditions such as high temperature and humidity, so they can survive for a long time. Examples are molds. Next is regeneration. Regeneration is a type of asexual reproduction in which the organism is capable of regrowing certain body parts. Planaria exhibit an extraordinary ability to regenerate lost body parts. For example, a planarian split lengthwise or crosswise will regenerate into two separate individuals. Next is fragmentation. It is a type of asexual reproduction in which an organism breaks down itself or an external environmental condition which make the organisms to break down into pieces, and each pieces grows into new individual organisms. Example is the starfish. Next, let's proceed to natural vegetative propagation. Natural vegetative propagation occurs when an axillary bud grows into a lateral shoot and develops its own roots, also known as adventitious roots. Plant structures allowing natural vegetative propagation include bulbs, rhizomes, runners, and tubers. Let's have examples. First is bulb. For plants such as onions, garlic, tulip, daffodil, and hyacinth, The bulb is the unit of vegetative propagation. The stem is shortened down to a disc, often called the basal plate, from which roots arise around the edge. The leaf bases are attached to the upper surface of the stem. Next is tubers. Tubers, such as potatoes, are fleshy underground storage structures composed of enlarged parts of the stem. A tuber functions in asexual propagation as a result of the tiny scale leaves equipped with buds that grow on its surface. Each of these buds can form a new plant, genetically identical to the parent. Next is runners. Runners, also called stolons, are similar to rhizomes in that they exhibit horizontal growth at or just below the soil surface. As runners grow, they develop roots from buds located at nodes or their tips. Example is strawberry. Next, rhizomes. Rhizomes are root-like stems that grow horizontally under the ground. New roots and shoots form at the nodes with shoots growing upwards to form new plantlets. Lateral buds grow out to form new rhizomes. Examples include iris and root ginger. Let's have artificial vegetative propagation. It is a type of plant reproduction that involves human intervention. The most common types of artificial vegetative reproductive techniques include cutting, layering, and grafting. So let's have cutting. Cutting is removing a portion of the stem and fixing it in the soil to allow the growth of roots and buds growing into shoots. Example, the plants like rose, bougainvillea, chrysanthemum, grapes, sugarcane, bananas, and cactus are commonly propagated by cutting. Next is layering. The development of roots on a stem while the stem is still attached to the parent plant is called layering. A layer is the rooted stem following detachment from the parent plant. Some plants propagate naturally by layering, but sometimes plant propagators assist the process. Example are climbing roses. Next is grafting. Grafting is an artificial method of asexual reproduction used to produce plants combining favorable stem characteristics with favorable root characteristics. Examples are mango tree and apple tree. Let's have sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is the process in which new organisms are created by combining the genetic information from two individuals of different sexes. It involves the union of male and female sex cells or gametes. Let's have example in plants. So how does a gumamela plant reproduce? In the wild, hibiscus species reproduce sexually when pollen from male flowers reaches female flowers for fertilization. When pods mature, they dry and crack open to release seeds, which fall to the ground and germinate to make more plants. Example in animals. Frogs lay eggs in water, and the eggs hatch into tadpoles that grow into frogs. All frogs reproduce sexually, and all hatch from eggs. In almost all frogs, egg fertilization happens outside the female's body instead of inside. The female releases her eggs, and the male releases his sperm at the same time. Example in humans. Human reproduction is when an egg cell from a woman and a sperm cell from a man unite and develop in the womb to form a baby. A number of organs and structures in both the woman and the man are needed in order for this process to occur. These are called the reproductive organs and genitals. So let's have the summary of the difference and similarities of asexual and sexual reproduction. So in asexual reproduction, it requires only one parent. The offspring is identical to the parent. It has a simpler process. There is no variation, no gametes and fertilization. In sexual reproduction, it requires two parents. Offspring is not identical to the parent. It has more complex process. It allows variation with gametes and fertilization. But they both produce offspring, and the offspring grow and develop and use DNA to create new life. So that's it. I hope you learned a lot today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye!